The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today, including Glenda Carlile from the Oklahoma Center for the Book, who's going to tell us all about the Oklahoma Book Awards. But first, Evelyn Davis will be talking with Doug Benton about a great book she just read.
Evelyn, hello, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now, my understanding is that the latest book to kind of fill in the chain from Name of the Rose to The Alienist to Da Vinci Code is the book that you want to talk about today.
Right. It's called The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, and it deals with the history of Vlad the Impaler, a.k.a. Dracula.
Dracula, yes.
It is meticulously researched, beautifully written. It gives a vivid sense of Eastern Europe and its mystery, and its scenery, its people.
And Vlad lived, he was the king, or whatever the title was, of the Romania, right?
He was indeed, and he was the man whose horrific means of torturing his people I will refrain from referring to on this show. Suffice it to say that they were sufficiently horrible to merge his identity into that of Dracula, whose bite, as we all know, causes people to become undead.
Right. Now, Vlad, this was the 14th century, 15th
Yes, it was.
century?
14th,
Somewhere in there? Okay.
end of the 14th.
Now, is the novel written as if he were actually a vampire? Is it a vampire story?
It really is not. It is a story of research into the story, and it proceeds through device of letters and stories. Each one, and here the reader must be alert, is told in the first person. And there are times when you will find yourself paging backward to find out who is actually talking.
You're not told, but this is like Dracula was written as letters, a series of letters, and you're told, this is the from the journal of so and so, or a letter from so and so. But you're not given that information in this book.
To a certain extent, you are.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, it is told by the young woman's beginning to write it down, then telling it as a series of stories from her father, then begins a series of letters from her father's advisor, an eminent historian, and so forth and so on. This book is not for the casual reader. It is a true challenge to read, and it is richly rewarding if you will simply persevere to the 650th page of it.
Okay, so it is fairly long then. You've
Yes,
told
it
us
is.
that. Again, and the title is again?
The Historian,
And it's by?
Elizabeth Kostova.
All right, thank you very much.
Certainly.
It's new out. You can find it at your local library and your favorite bookstore.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
With me now is Kim Terry. She is Marketing and Communications Manager, and she has something to say about what's happening at our libraries.
During March, we have a lot of great things going on, BJ. We've got, this week, we start Spring Fling, which is our annual program that's every year during spring break. And we've got the Paul Mesner puppets. They're going to be producing the true story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolfe.
Ooh.
And it's instead of the three little pigs point of view, it's the wolf's point of view. And it's just, it's delightful. I had a friend of mine saw it in Kansas City a couple months ago. She said it was just adorable. So that's going to be going on from March 13th to the 17th at various libraries throughout the city. So just check out our website, www.metrolibrary.org, to find out where and when the performances are going to be this week.
Because you can come, even if you're close to Bethany, you could go to the Belle Isle Library if you wanted.
Exactly. We've got usually about 2 to 3 performances every day, different libraries. It's just going to be a delightful time. It's going to be so much fun. So another thing we've got going, first week of April, April 6th, is our Literary Voices Dinner. It's our annual event to raise money by the Library Endowment Trust. This year we've got a special actor, actress, author, artist, Jane Seymour. She's going to be there, so that's going to be really neat. So just check out our website to find some more information about the Literary Voices Dinner. We also, have you done your taxes yet for this year?
Oh, no.
I haven't either. So I'm going to be one of the hundreds going to the tax help. A lot of our libraries have tax help going on at them. Volunteers, AARP, VITA volunteers are helping individuals throughout the city, the county, doing tax help. So I'm going to be standing in line getting some tax help in the next week or two.
Now, this, again, we keep saying go to the website, which has a new look to it.
Yes, we just unveiled our brand new website about 2 weeks ago. You need to check it out. It's www.metrolibrary.org. It's much easier to use. The navigation's easy. We have a search feature. Calendar of events is still there. There's some really cool features that it has this year that's just easier to use.
Well, it's not just going to tell you what's going on at your library, but it has a catalog of everything that you can check out, and just lots of neat things going on.
Exactly.
And if you're at the library, you can bring your laptop and use our Wi-Fi access.
That's right. Our wireless access, one of the first all the way around the county. It's great.
Thanks very much, Kim, for being with us.
All right. Thanks, BJ.
Coming up next, last summer I had talked with Gary Rodriguez about a number of books that he had read. Unfortunately, he passed away suddenly last fall, and this is one of the last book reviews that he did for Read About It. Gary, what have you brought for us today?
I've brought a book today by James Brady. It's called The Scariest Place in the World.
And I believe, I can read from here, a Marine returns to North Korea. Why would anybody go back to North Korea?
Well, James Brady is someone that's written a lot of military stuff for Parade magazine. You know, you get it in your Sunday paper. And this was coming up on the anniversary, I think it's the 40th anniversary of him being a second lieutenant in Korea during the heaviest of the fighting. He was a Marine. Well, of course, now the Army's over there. And they talked about, you know, this would be a good project for you to go back over to this hill that you were wounded on and see what's happening now. So that's what he tried to do. Of course, it talks about the Army kind of dragging his feet because, well, this is a really dangerous place. Actually, the title comes from Bill Clinton because he's the one that said this is the scariest place in the world because you never know what's going to happen with the Koreans on the other side. And they literally were taking him down to the demilitarized zone, and he got to meet the soldiers and down there, and he was worried that, well, I'm a Marine in their Army. Well, it turns out the young Army guys that are there now, number one, they're elite, and they volunteer to be on that post, the foremost post in the whole Korean peninsula. And of course, it's like a 10-to-1 ratio of Americans versus Korean. And the Koreans are very proud of the fact that they're there defending their country. So there was some politics involved, and he said one of the biggest thrills in his life was actually going up the hill where he was wounded at, which now is kind of back behind the line a little bit. And it talks about the demons that he chased, you know, in his own mind. It's just a fascinating book. Of course, I always liked reading Brady and Parade. So it was really just a neat return to where you came from.
And for those who don't know, the Korean War was in the early 50s, and there is a very large, what is called the DMZ, the Demilitarized Zone, with a very large North Korean army on one side of it, and a very large South Korean army sprinkled with Americans on the other side of it, all of them knowing that if if the balloon goes up, they're all dead.
Yeah.
In
Well, they
essence.
kept, the term that the Marines didn't like using was, well, you're just a speed bump to
Right.
slow them down a little bit till we could get the real stuff over there to knock them out.
Unfortunately, folks, that's the way wars often go.
Yeah, well, they kind of cut to the nitty-gritty there, you know. But it's really a neat book. It talks about how these guys, how they put up with the conditions. Yeah, they've got concrete bunkers they're living in now, and it's definitely permanent versus what he dealt with, the trenches they had to dig and all the other stuff. But the conditions are still, the winters are still just as cold and the summers are still just as hot. So
And the title?
it's called The Scariest Place in the World by James Brady.
And you can find it at your library and your favorite bookstore. Coming up next, Doug Benton and Elizabeth Kessler want to tell you about a movie that you can check out at your library.
I'm here with Liz Kessler from our material selection office. Our third person couldn't make it today. She got sick this morning. Linda Hyams is usually here to talk about movies with us, but we'll actually talk behind her back because the first movie we brought is The Lion in Winter, and I don't like it.
I didn't like it. Sorry, Linda, but I didn't
We'd
like
say it if you were here too. Okay.
Yes, we would.
It's good. My objection to it is, of course, it's based on a play, and that's not a bad thing, but it's a very good play. I think somebody called it a medieval Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at one point. But it's not a good movie. Nothing is done to open it up.
No, it isn't. I mean,
it's
even the
a-
actors didn't save it.
No,
I mean, there's
and
really
look
great
at this
actors.
cast.
Yeah.
Katharine Hepburn, who won the Oscar for this. Peter O'Toole, who didn't, but should have probably, because he always should have. It's Anthony Hopkins' first film, I think, wasn't
Right.
it?
I
Or
think
a very
so,
early
a
one.
very early
Timothy
film.
Dalton's first film.
Yeah, James Bond.
You know, it's
Dalton.
a
Gosh.
it's a terrific
Yes.
cast. It's about Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine, historical, obviously. And O'Toole had played Henry II once before in Becket,
Oh, I
in the
didn't know
film
that.
Becket. Yes.
I didn't know that.
But they're just two people sniping at each other. They have a dysfunctional family. Their sons don't get along with each other or with the parents. And that's pretty much it. And much of the dialogue is very clever. Like I say, it's a well-written script.
Right. It's
But it's
just
just-
no action.
Right.
It's just very clipped.
It's very static. Well, here, let's see a clip from the film, okay?
Okay.
This is the sons sitting around plotting against their parents.
Okay.
We'll have to fight them all. They'll band together once this happens. Have I got your word?
Do I have yours? All England's land in France if I support you.
Are we allies then?
We were born to be.
I should say something solemn, but I haven't the time. I'm off to father with the news that John's a traitor.
You stink! You know that? You're a stinker and you stink!
That was actually one of the more
One of the
funnier
more
bits.
lively
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
It has almost a little touch of Hamlet there with Polonius hiding behind the curtains.
Yes.
And you can see, I think, from some of that dialogue, the way it's delivered, that they're not trying to duplicate medieval speech patterns or anything like that. You stink is more of a modern phrasing, I think.
Yes.
So, real quick, sum up. What did you think of The Lion in Winter?
I can't recommend it.
No.
I just, just too boring.
Okay, sorry,
a yawn.
Linda.
Sorry,
No-
Linda.
Yeah, we don't like this
A big
one, so
yawn.
We'll see you again soon with another movie that maybe somebody will like.
Thanks, Elizabeth and Doug. Coming up next, Rosemary Zarsky and Kelly Rhea will be telling us about a book for our young adults.
Hello, Rosemary Zarsky from the Choctaw Library is here today. She's brought a really good book. It's called The Wizard Test, and it's by Hilary Bell, who's written quite a few really good books. Tell me what you liked about The Wizard Test.
Well, I picked it out at first because it was a sci-fi. I love sci-fi. This is an interesting story of a boy who has to come of age to realize that just because everybody does it doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. And David he's never going to be a wizard. He is just never going to be a wizard because his grandmother was a wizard, and she betrayed the country.
So the Harry Potter fans might really enjoy reading this book as well.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's a great tale of opening eyes to see what's out there. I mean, the old folk are fighting with the newcomers to the land, trying to regain their territory. And then the wizards, all they're trying to do is save the land.
It's maintain the peace.
Keep the land healthy for the people to live on. And as a result, they're of course hated. It's sort of like the environmentalists today. And I think girls or boys that read this would understand the struggle that David has to go through.
Mm-hmm. So this is a good read for teenagers. When I looked information up about it, some of the issues that you could kind of look at how the author dealt with was loyalty, perception, fantasy, friendship. So all that's in this story.
Right, and it's interesting to decide what loyalty truly is.
Ooh, that's got me intrigued. So would you recommend that this would be a good holiday book to read?
I think you could read it for the holidays. You could read this one just about any time. I think I would recommend it especially during Earth Day week.
Okay, well, we'll have to remember that and put that on the calendar. It's called The Wizard Test. It's by Hilary Bell, and you can find it at your local bookstore or at your favorite library.
With me now is Glenda Carlile. She's the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Center for the Book, and every year the Oklahoma Center for the Book has its Oklahoma Book Awards, which happened last Saturday, March 11th, and it was a banquet and lots of people were there, right, Glenda?
Lots of people were there. We had more people than we've ever had before. Each year it keeps growing. So we actually had one table more than what we had last year. We had 230 people there, 30 of which were Book Award finalists.
Wow. Now that we have talked before about the fact that we have several categories, and people who either have lived in Oklahoma or who are writing about Oklahoma have been eligible to enter their books. So we had, there were more than 30 finalists, and about 30 of them actually attended, right?
30 actually attended, and I think there were very few that did not attend this year. I think maybe 4 or 5, and other than that, it was just a really wonderful group, and we had a couple of books that had like 4 authors, and that's one of the things that we do is we provide free comp tickets to the finalists, and then if they bring family members, then of course we charge for the family members. But that's one of the things that we're very pleased to be able to do, is to have them come to the Petroleum Club, and even if they're not a winner, they get to come, have a very nice dinner, meet with other authors, have a book signing, and so it's really a special evening, I think, even if they're not the winners.
Well, what I really enjoy is the book signing beforehand. There's the hour before the banquet actually starts, all of the finalists are there. They have books available, and anybody attending the banquet can chat with their favorite author, meet new authors. They can buy books and have them signed. So that's really a special part of the evening, a chance to get to meet some of the people who are telling great stories about Oklahoma.
And this is provided by Best of Books, and it's a lot of work for them to get hold of all the books and have them there and take care of the sales, and they give all the proceeds back to the Center for the Book.
Which is a great help.
Which is a great help. It helps pay for some of those finalist tickets.
Right. Now, we also give some special awards at the banquets, and one of them this year, Virginia Matthews actually received, but it wasn't for Virginia, it was for somebody related to her, right?
Virginia Matthews' father, John Joseph Matthews, is considered one of Oklahoma's best writers. And he wrote really, I think mostly in the 30s, 40s, in that era. and wrote for OU Press, and he was an Osage Indian himself, and he wrote about the Osage and fiction and nonfiction, and is really considered one of the very best. So Virginia came all the way from Connecticut to accept this award for her father.
It's the Ralph Ellison Award, and it's given not necessarily every year, but to an outstanding deceased author.
Right. We have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards, the Errol Gibson to a living author, and then the Ralph Ellison to a deceased author, and it is not necessarily given every year. But the Errol Gibson Lifetime Achievement Award is given every year, and the person who got it this year is probably one of the most deserving people ever, if you consider having his 65th book about Oklahoma come out this week.
And anybody who watches Read About It regularly knows that we're talking about Bob Burke.
Bob Burke, and his, if it makes it, his 65th book, which is about Jane Giroux, is supposed to come out on Friday.
Well, very good. But he's, and almost all of his books, I would say all of his books, have been about Oklahoma.
All of them.
Or biographies of Oklahomans, some very prominent and some not so prominent, but they've all helped to create a picture of Oklahoma.
And you know, I don't know exactly how long he's been writing, but wouldn't you say it's only been the last 10, 15 years? And to have done 65 books, and they are all about Oklahoma. And he was introduced by his friend and writing colleague and someone else that all Oklahoma knows, and that was George Nye. And of course, George Nye is just a wonderful speaker, and he just enthralls the whole group wherever he goes.
Right.
And, so that was, you know, we didn't need to worry about having entertainment that night if we had George as the speaker. And so he introduced Bob, and he and Bob co-wrote Good Guys Wear White Hats.
Bob has a lot of co-writers on his books, but I know every fall we sort of have a Bob Burke week at least once a month when he comes out with a new book. So, and I expect that will happen again this year as well.
That's he had, actually there were 4 tables of Bob Burke's supporters that were there, and most of them were people who have written with him.
Now we had some winners in our categories as well, didn't we?
We don't announce the winners until that night. So the finalists come that night not knowing whether they are going to be a winner or not. And we had for fiction, the winner was from Oklahoma City, and was David Kent, is the pen name that he uses. His actual name is Kent Anderson. Right, and for poetry we had Leanne Howe for Evidence of Red, and Leanne is now living in Oxford, Mississippi, and is a Grisham Fellowship winner recipient at Oxford University. For children, young adult, we had Anna Myers for Assassin, and this will be this is Anna's 3rd time that she has won. And for Worst Hard Time won the nonfiction Timothy Egan, and he was not able to be there. He lives in Seattle and had a previous commitment. And we had, then for design illustration, we had 2 awards. One went to Carol Harrelson, and Carol, I'm not sure, maybe it's either 6 or 7 awards that she's...
I think it's the 6th.
I think it's the 6th, but you know, if she has a book in, you can almost be assured that she's going to win. So she won for the design, and the illustration went to Norman illustrator John Goodell.
So it was really a great evening, wonderful books, wonderful time. You need to just keep watching, read about it, or contact Glenda to find out how you can come to the banquet next year. It is open to the public.
It is open to the public, yes.
And it's a great way to meet some of the writers here in Oklahoma and from out of state, because they do come, as you said, Connecticut and a number of other states.
Right.
So, well, Glenda, I want to thank you so much for being with us and telling us about our Oklahoma Book Award winners.
Thank you, BJ.
We've been talking with Glenda Carlile of the Oklahoma Center for the Book. She's been telling us about the annual Oklahoma Book Awards. If you'd like to find out about next year's book award, give Glenda a call at 522-3575.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of the Metropolitan Library System. 2007 will mark Oklahoma's centennial year. 100 years is a long time, but public libraries have been part of this community since the very beginning. And we're still exactly the same as we've been all along, your primary source for information and entertainment. The delivery methods are different now than in the early days. Today we provide free wireless access, free internet access, DVDs, CDs, free programming for people of all ages, along with the traditional books, magazines, and newspapers. But what hasn't changed is our dedication to helping you find exactly what you need. Librarians continue to be the guides to the up-to-date world of information, and our librarians at MLS are the best in the business. So visit your neighborhood MLS library soon, and as they say in the world of libraries, come check us out.
Doug Benton is sitting next to me, and that means it's Writer's Almanac time. He's holding a piece of paper in his hand. So you must have done some investigation.
You're really stretching for full time here today, aren't you? Yes, March 14th was the birthday of a writer who's almost a forgotten man now, but I still find him amusing. His name was Max Schulman. And you said before that that name was kind of familiar, but you couldn't quite place him. He wrote a book called The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis.
Ah, yes.
And that became a very famous television program that Schulman used to introduce. He was on the show. But he was a humorous novelist. He also wrote plays. He wrote movie scripts. He wrote television scripts. So he was an all-around popular writer of his time, which was mostly the post-war years in through the 60s. One of my favorite Schulman stories is one of his books. He named a character Max, and he said, you know, in an aside, you're not supposed to ever do this. They tell you in writing classes, don't ever name a character after yourself. And there were 27 people in that book named Max, all in minor roles. So Schulman was born on March 14th in 1919, and I believe he died about 1988, something like that. March 18th is another writer who I think was humorous, although he's not usually thought of as being a humorous writer. We remember him more as a writer of thrillers, and his name was Richard Condon. He was born in 1915, and his two most popular books, the ones he's remembered for, are The Manchurian Candidate and Prizzi's Honor, which was filmed a few years after that. They're both highly satirical, black-humored works that look at politics and all sorts of things American. Condon died in 1996. He's the author of Condon's Law, which is when you don't know the whole truth, the worst you can imagine is going to be bound to be close.
Okay. Well, that's okay. We'll forgive you this
Thank
time.
you.
Okay.
I'm not the writer here.
But you can find books by these authors
Both of them.
and all the other authors we've talked about today at our website, which has been newly designed. It's still the same address, www.metrolibrary.org, where you can find out everything you have ever wanted to know about your library on that website. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time.